Better get going. Let's start it now.
You're gonna be like, what? Because you wear the headphones so much that it's like a part of your head.
It should be streaming.
Huh?
As if you wear the head. You say you're streaming? Yeah.
We're streaming?
Yeah, we're streaming.
So Joel need to point at me.
Whatever. What about the intro stuff? Yeah.
Do the intro and then Joel will point.
Whoa. A little less with the wrestling.
Oh, okay.
Don't control it.
The white man always trying to keep the black man down.
Your wife.
Is everything a little too loud or something?
No, it seemed that way?
I don't know.
It's hard on the black man in America.
All right, so
Joe, we need to start training Chris, because he's here every Sunday now. Maybe how to start working the boards. In your
Hey,
pocket?
you should get pointed at though right now.
Come and point at me.
can I point at him?
You're pointing at me?
Yeah.
Oh. Good morning. Welcome to church. I am Jesse Peterson. Thank you so much for being with me. You can get involved by going to our chat line, as well as we're taking phone calls. And this is church. It's not a town hall. It's not political. It's really fellowship and edifying one another, all right? So I want to hear from you. 888-7753-773, 888-77-JESSE. I have a lot that I want to talk about, but I do want to hear from you as well. I was telling you guys that it's interesting having these things in my ears rather than when I do my show, I have the overhead headsets. And I had tried this once before on my radio show, but it didn't work very well because I wasn't accustomed to it. But the more I do it, the more I become accustomed to it. So I may try it again. What are they doing with their noise?
I don't know. You hear it?
Yeah. Cut out that noise back there. I hear like a thing in my ear.
Yeah, I think maybe they just fixed it.
I think they just fixed it.
Yeah.
And so I'm becoming accustomed to it. So as far as the Chinese virus, I really just don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I've been asking around, asking people I know, do you know anyone who has the Chinese virus? And they're like, no. And then I asked, do you know of anyone who knows anyone who has the Chinese virus? And maybe one or two people say, well, I know one person who knows someone. But most people say no. So I want to know, when you call in with your fellowship questions or comments, do you know anyone who has the Chinese virus? Do you have it? Do you know anyone who has it? Or do you know anyone who knows anyone who has it? And I know I've been seeing these entertainer people on TV lately acting like they and the government, it seems like they're the only one who seem to be getting it. So I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't know. But be careful, be aware, don't overreact. I have had an amazing week this week. It was like amazing. I learned a lot, I grew a lot, and it was mind-blowing. Really mind-blowing. And I would encourage you to do the same thing, all right? And I'll tell you why in a minute. So a couple of things that happened, then I'll take your call. A couple of things that happened, and I do have a brand new biblical question for this week. Brand new, amazing biblical question. Last week, biblical question, is it normal to be vulnerable? And I'll put my little 2 cents in on that this morning. But first I want to respond. I want to talk about what my radio show and counseling and what I learned, what I realized is number one, I counseled with a young man from Sweden. And it was an amazing counseling session. By the way, we have the best counseling service on this side of heaven. The best on this side of heaven. And I'll tell you why I really appreciated this particular one, but it's not the only one. This young man is in his 20s. He grew up with atheist parents. Father and mother were not into religion at all. And he's in his 20s now. So growing up, he went through a lot of stuff. He was into a lot of stuff. And then all of a sudden, he found my YouTube channel. And he started listening. And when he was listening, all of a sudden, according to him, he started to remember. He was like, Jesse, I started to remember. And now that I can remember, I can't go back. I can't go back. And all of his friends and his family, they all still live in that, in that fallen state way. And he said, well, I have friends around me and stuff, but I don't, it's like I'm alone because I can't go back. And I remember. And to me, that was so powerful because that wasn't that reminder of what you already know doesn't come from human beings. It's come from within and in the soul of your belly, not in your head. Because there's this warfare going on. There's a spiritual battle between the head, the voice, and the voiceless voice, the soul of the belly. And when you start to remember, because he went and he forgave his parents, because it made sense to him. And then he just wanted to do things right now. But when he said he remember, I'm like, that's amazing. Because I noticed that over the last 30 years, and 31 years for me personally, but barring 30 years, the things that are revealed doesn't seem like a real surprise. It's like we know, but we just forgot we know because we're so traumatized. And so he said a lot of other things, but those things, that was like hit home for me. And it's interesting that his parents were atheists. He grew up that way, but somehow or another he was set apart, set aside for God to bring him back into the kingdom of heaven. And I've noticed that in a lot of families over the last 30 years. I've seen that in a lot of families where one or two of the kids, even in the Christian families, one or two of the kids don't necessarily identify with the atheists or the Christians, but they become true children of God. They're like the ones that seem to rebel, even though this particular guy didn't sound like he was rebelling, but they're set apart. And then after they get of age, they seek the Father for themselves and they start to remember. That's so amazing. And the reason I say that is because I want you to know that everything you are, everything you need to know, that kingdom of heaven, your whole life is on the inside. Christ came and made that possible. And I want you to know, don't put any human being, and I know some of you seem to do it anyway, and I don't know why, because I keep telling you that when I speak, let it go in one ear and out the other. When you hear other people, other preachers, or so-called experts, or when you're watching the news, or when the president speaks, and when others speak, don't get into them. But have a little space, because you have it in you to know for yourself. You really do. You don't need, I'm not your guru. I'm just like you. I'm a human being in a flesh that have to seek the kingdom of God. I have to make sure I pray, I deal with things. Lord, no, I deal with things. And I'm treated the same way you all are treated. People turn on you. Friends pretend to be friends until they get angry. People lie on you. And so I have to deal with all that kind of stuff. I have to get up in the morning and do the silent prayer, and at night and during the day, I have to be aware because Satan is always trying to pull me back into the word of the imagination, words of the imagination. He always trying to make me doubt. But since I know his voice and I know God's voice now, thank God it's not happening. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. But you have that in you to know. And once you return to the Father, you will know for yourself. But you got to return to God. That way you don't rely on a person. Literally, I'm no different to you. I went to the gym yesterday. As I said, I went to the park this last week now, twice. I missed a week before that because of the gym was closed down. And so I'm like, this ain't going to work. I got to go work out. So I went to the park twice, and it felt so good. I worked on my arms, my chest, shoulders, back, between the 2 days. And I am so sore now, I could hardly walk. I'm like, I love this. And my body is coming back to be my body. And but it feels good. So I have to work out, I have to watch the way I eat. And when I am facing challenges, I don't go to some human being to ask them what they think or blah, blah, blah. I go to, so far I'm able to be still and go through it and know the truth. Because either I rely on God from the soul of the belly, or I rely on Satan from the head, or some physical person. And the physical people don't know any more than you. So all I try to do is to point you back to the same source that's guiding me, because it's in you to know. But you gotta seek the kingdom of God in its right way. And you gotta overcome the hate. You must drop the hate, the anger. Because as soon as I or somebody don't do it the way you think they should do it, or say something that you think they should say it, or quote the Bible the way you think they should quote it, that's your enemy. Or someone should lie on you, you're going to believe them. And now you're going to fall because you're God. You're made the speaker your God. Your God is wrong. And you're going to believe whatever people tell you, and you'll fall. But if you are driven by the same sources driving me and guiding me, what you hear about other people, you won't be moved because you will understand. All right? But you got to overcome the anger. And when this young man from Sweden said, I remember, I started to remember, and he could see things and he can't go back, because once you wake up, you cannot go back. And no matter what you're going through, you have perfect love for all people, no matter what the circumstance is. It doesn't change it. Even if they turn on you, if they lie on you, your best friends, your so-called friends and family members should turn, because at some point they will if they have not overcome the anger. Just know that. Over the last 30 years, since dealing with people around the world, I am no longer surprised. I used to be surprised. Wow, that person know me. How did that person turn? But I understand now they can't help it, because they still have anger and have not overcome, and they cannot help it. So I encourage you to seek first the kingdom of God, doubt every thought, forgive, and then you will fall away from the sin of judgment. Because the sin is not the pot that you smoke, or the drugs that you do, or the outer world law sex. Those are the commandments, right? The sin is playing God, judging your fellow man, judging one another, trying to destroy one another, playing God. That sin is a lack of love. And so once you forgive and you see flaws in others, then you'll still love them. You won't try to destroy them. You will guide them. You will love them. Just think about that. So the young man in Sweden, really, it was an amazing counseling session. He said a lot more stuff, but it was private stuff, and I don't want to share that. I can't. I got a call from a young man out of, I believe it was Houston, Texas. And he was telling me that his wife had died 3 days earlier while in bed. They were sleeping. He woke up the next morning, and that she had expired. And for at least that night, and leading up to that night, according to him, she had been overreacting to the Chinese virus. she was like on edge, freaking out, overreacting to it, according to the man, the husband. And he would get up in the middle of the night to try to calm her down, you know, and he managed to do it some nights, and she was afraid that he had it, his kids had it, because they have 3 young kids, I believe, and he has an older son, 16 or so, out of wedlock or by some other woman. But they have 3 young kids. And he would calm her down, and he tried to tell her, stop overreacting, calm down, you know, stay out of your mind about this, because Satan, it's amazing, some people still don't understand the voice of Satan. They think voice that they hear in their head, especially when they are angry or on pot or high or something like that. They think the anger that they feel, that they think the voices that they hear are real because they believe it. But he said that his wife, that particular night that she expired, he had gotten up through the night to calm her down, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, I believe he said, I could be wrong, but that was the last time he had to calm her down. She woke up freaking out. He was like, calm down, it's fine, God is with you, don't worry about it. And so he calmed her down, he got back, they went back to bed, and he woke up the next morning. She had wanted him to do some work on the house, so he was going to get up and go to the store to buy the material for the house. And I forgot the entire story, but he went to, when he got back, I don't know if when he got back or before he left, he touched her because her hand was on the baby crib, as though she was shaking the baby crib right next to the bed. And he noticed her hand was blue, it was stiff. And he's like, wow. So he called his father-in-law up that lived with him, because the father-in-law's wife, the girl's mother, had died of a heart attack. And so they came up and confirmed that the wife was dead. And what happened, according to him, is that she was freaking out so much that she had a heart attack. And that's what freaking out will do. The worst thing you can do to yourself is to have anger, judge yourself and other people, and anger will destroy the body because it's the spirit of Satan. And there is no life in it. It was an amazing story. It was like a compelling story. You can hear it if you podcast my radio show. And I bring that up because it reminded me of when the disciples was on the boat with Christ. They were like loving Christ. Christ, you're the man. You know what? We believe. We have faith. Yes. And then Christ chatted with them for a while. They fellowshiped. And Christ decided, you know what? I need a nap. Like I do sometimes. I need a nap in the middle of the day. A 5-minute nap is like a whole night's sleep to me. And so Christ was like, I'll take a nap. And he went to take a nap on the boat. And while he was napping, a wind came and the boat started shaking. They were like, oh my Lord, well, we needed you, Jesus, we need you now, right? And they started freaking out. And Christ like, oh. They're like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And he's like, oh Lord, I just went to sleep. What y'all want? He's like, the wind is coming. They were like, the wind is coming, it's going to turn the boat over. And Christ said, oh, you little faith, or something like that. And he said, don't you know that if you had faith, a little faith, you could have told the wind to be still, and it would have. Isn't that deep? And what he's saying is that when issues come, when people turn on you, when people try to hurt you, when they lie, when they whatever, that's the wind that's coming to shake the boat. Instead of shaking, being afraid and freaking out, or when the Chinese virus come, or you see Chinese in a store putting the virus on computers, it look like, right? Or buying up all the masks. Don't freak out. Be still so you can see how to overcome it. And it shows your faith in God, and through all things, he will help you through it. But you got to remember, it's in those moments when the boat is shaking, Satan gonna get busy in the head, telling you one thing after another to try to make you doubt and have fear, have hate in your heart. But doubt every thought and just relax, and he's gonna want you to take some type of action. Don't do it, no matter what the other person or the wind is saying, right? Like rough wind. And the water is flashing out of the boat. just be still. Really. It's so powerful. And I am living that, and it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. But it's in you too. It's in every human being. But you got to return to the Father by dropping the anger so you can stop playing God. Stop playing God. And then you will not hate even your enemy. So when people turn on you, you're like, wow, I didn't know that. I thought that was a friend. But you realize they can't help it. And you still have to, you don't go against them with hate, with anger. You might not be a friend anymore. You don't hang out with them. Once you know your enemies, you move on, but don't hate them. And so that's what I realized from that call about the wife. It was an amazing call. A wife overreacting to the coronavirus. And so all those who are overreacting, you're doing it because you don't have faith. But when you forgive and doubt every thought, you will have faith. And faith isn't anything that's involved in the head at all. Excuse me. It's not in the head, it's in the soul of the belly. Everything in the head is a lie. It's a setup. Faith is love. Faith is God. And you can't feel it, you can't taste it, you can't touch it. Yes, thank you. You can't touch it, you live by it. And it's a voiceless voice. The voice of your imagination is not of you about anything. It's from Satan. So when that voice tells you to do weird things, just know that's not from God. All right? I have a lot more. Something else I want to tell you. Do we have calls? Yeah. Okay, but I want to take some calls and then some chat stuff. But I got something that's so amazing. And it's from, it's in Luke, it's in 1 Corinthians, and it's in Hebrew. It's so amazing. And then I want to get to my biblical question of this week. Yes, Jay.
Okay, first let's get to Alex in Miami, Florida. He says that he needs help staying out of his head. Alex.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how are you?
All is well, sir. How are you?
The same. So obviously, with the coronavirus, no one can work and do anything. So I've been home alone and with nothing to do. So naturally, that's when the thoughts kind of, they come in.
Yes.
So I already know that they're from Satan, but I keep catching myself kind of going along with it. Like a situation happened earlier today, and just Satan kept, talking, and I was trying to be still and know.
Right.
Or I recognized that they were from him.
Yes.
But I just, I keep finding myself inside of my head because there's nothing else to do.
The one thing I want you to know, Alex, we're being forced to stay home or, can't go to work. It's such an amazing time because when people are alone, and I've been through that too, they feel like nothing. They feel unimportant. Right. There are no distractions. They feel like they want to jump out the window. But it's a perfect moment to see that you're nothing and to be okay with that because the ego wants us to think that we're important. And I go through the same thing, have gone through the same thing, but I've grown a lot. But it wants you to think that you're important, but you're not. That's why people get education. That's why they put titles to their name like Reverend and Bishop and all that, and they want to set themselves above you because the ego doesn't want them to see that they're nothing. And so in those moments, just relax, and when you see that you're caught up in your head because a situation came or happened, just relax. It's enough to know that you lost in a thought because one thought will come and another will come and you feel it in your belly and everything. But just know that, don't freak out, and it'll pass. And Alice, what would come after that is mind-blowing, man. So don't fight it. Don't just be aware. And if you are caught up, just know you're caught up in your head because most people don't even know that they're caught up in their heads. And so they are tripping out. But just know you're caught up in your head and the thought won't go away right away. So just relax and know that, and then it'll pass eventually, and you'll be fine from it. Don't fight with
Okay.
it. Don't fight with it. Don't judge it. Don't put a title to it. Just know you're lost in a thought. That's all you need to know. And you're going to be feeling all this anxiety in your belly and everywhere. Just let it pass. It'll eventually pass. Don't worry about it. And you'll wake up to the light, man, and it's mind-blowing. Because God is still with you. It's just that you're lost in a thought and feeling the pain. So you think that he's not, but he is. He's fighting that because he's the Spirit of God fighting that battle for you. Because the battle is with the imagination, which is of Satan, and with the light of God in the soul of the belly. So this battle is happening, and there's nothing you can do about it. So just relax, speak up, and you'll be fine. No matter what they say about you or what, if they judge you, it doesn't matter. And the Spirit of God is fighting the battle for you, and you'll be fine.
Okay.
It's a part of the
Well,
growth. It's a spiritual growth that you're going through because you've been living in your imagination for so long. You're accustomed to those thoughts, and you're overcoming it. But don't freak out.
Now, I did have a question about the silent prayer. I've been doing it for years. The thoughts tell me I'm pretty bad at it,
Right.
but I just keep going through. I keep, going back and forth between the tape.
Yes.
But my job when I was working, I did a combination of night or afternoon to night, and then early morning.
Yes.
So typically, when I would get home, it would be I went to work and then after work gym and then home. So I would usually be home around midnight or 1 a.m. But then on the weekends, I have to wake up at 3. So typically, when I did the silent prayer, sometimes when I do it, I have like a bunch of energy. So when I'm supposed to wake up, early in the morning, I can't fall back to sleep. So typically, I just do the silent prayer, and sometimes it's there for like 2 hours. But then I wake up, getting about 15 minutes of sleep, and I'm just there like, well, do I do the silent prayer again? Technically, I woke up. So do I just stay with it, or do I just shower or go on along with
Yeah,
it?
just
So-
shower, go on with your day.
Okay, so what's like the grace
Because-
period between the silent prayers?
What is it, what now?
Like when I do it, just fall asleep, and like if I wake up in a few hours, do I still do it, or like how long should I wait?
So you get home late at night from work, right?
Yeah,
And then you do it before you fall asleep.
yes.
And then you get up early in the morning, and you're wondering, should you do it again?
Yeah, like normally, because I'm like I roll around, because I ask God for sleep, and then I realized I wasn't asking to sleep. I was just, asking to not be tired when in the morning,
Right.
which He sort of granted. But when on the weekends when I get, like a little amount of sleep, I just sort of try to do it for like 15 minutes. Hopefully, I don't fall back to sleep.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if, like, because the thoughts tell me, the thoughts tell me, oh, you're doing it wrong, but then they also say, oh, well, just go on with your day. So it's kind of this chasing your tail of, I don't know what to do, but obviously, when you say if you don't know what to do, don't do nothing. But I'm not going to go to work without showering, obviously.
Yeah, but
So-
listen, man, don't have a set thing. I give people the general idea of what to do. But if you have a different schedule, I'm not there with you. You need to do it according to how you can do it, because my schedule in life is different than yours. And so, but don't let Satan tell you, well, Jesse said you got to do it early in the morning, right? If that's not your schedule, you do it whenever it works for you. God is with you. He doesn't care about the time. The only reason I suggest early in the morning, because some people get up, like I do, I get up at 3:30 every morning. And so my days start very early, and I need to be aware of all this stuff that I have to deal with instead of being lost in my head. But if your schedule is differently, just do it accordingly. And don't worry about a set time. Because there will come a day, and I almost shouldn't say this, but I will. There will come a day when you won't have to just do it every morning like that. Because you'll be so aware that you'll find yourself in the presence of God, all day long. So you'll grow into that. But do it according to your schedule. Don't listen to anything that Satan tells you about it. He's lying to you. Don't have a plan. Don't have a set time. I remember at one point I was traveling a lot, and so my schedule had changed. But and I know what you mean, because Satan would tell me, "Oh, you need to do it now. It's 3 a.m. or whatever, right?" But I didn't listen to that. I did it when I could do it, and that's what you should do. Do not listen to Satan about it at all, Alice, and just do it. Just simply live your life, and he will guide you. You'll be fine.
All right.
All right.
And if something comes from God, there's like, you can't doubt it, right?
When you see it clearly, there's no question, no doubt. It's like the light shining in a bright, beautiful day. You go out to the sunlight, you can see the road without even thinking about it. Likewise, when he reveals to you, there's no doubt about it. It's like there are no words to really express it, because if I say certain words, people are addicted to words, and Satan will use that to try to make that work in their life. But it's a light unto your feet, and you just walk by the light. And when you wake up, you're going to do what's in front of you. You know, in the Bible it says, when people tell you to look here and there for God, he's over here, he's over there, look there, look there. But the reality is, you need to look right in front of you, because he's here and now. So just live, instead of in your head about anything, thinking about tomorrow, about yesterday. Just live in the present and do what's in front of you. And everything else will work out.
Yeah, it's just the issue is there's nothing in front of me to do.
But and be happy with that. Believe me, if you could have the same joy or peace that you have with nothing to do, when you do have things to do, it's amazing. You have to have peace in a nothing to do quiet moment in the same way you will have in a busy to do quiet moment. Busy to do time.
Okay.
But don't listen to your head, Alice. Just relax, and you're growing, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, one last thing. When situations come up and you feel like your heartbeat, like, accelerating,
Yeah.
is there like a separation between, like, I know that's not from God, because God wouldn't want me to be like adrenaline or, the heart beating in a situation, but I notice it happening.
Yes.
Where my arm's kind of shaking, but I don't feel like the connection. Like I don't feel nervous, or I don't really know what the expression is.
It's just that you're
like
not aware.
Earlier.
When the situation comes, the thought comes so fast, and you're not aware. I was talking to a person yesterday, and they were telling me that they were having stomach problems, right? And they didn't know if it was indigestion or cancer or ulcers or whatever. But the thoughts were telling them, "Oh, you got cancer, you got this," and they start to freak out because they believed the lie. And they went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Well, maybe you just got heartburn or something, But they had believed the lie. It was hard to get away from that lie at first, so they were starting to freak out. And as I was speaking to this person, they started to calm down, because they were coming out of the imagination, and they realized, you know what, I was freaking over the thoughts. And just be aware, the thoughts will usher in at any time, try to take advantage of you. Just know you can't freak out unless you believe a thought. And when you believe the thought, you start to have stomach pain. Some people have palpitation of the heart starts beating fast. Some people it can do some weird stuff to you. But just know it's straight out of hell, it's not true, and relax and allow yourself to go through it, because tribulation brings patience in your life. So when you're going through that kind of stuff, you really should counter when people are trying to attack you, when they're lying about you, they want to destroy you or whatever. You should count it as joy, because tribulation works patience in your life. It's not necessarily a bad thing.
Okay.
All right? Amazing, Alice.
Yeah.
I wish you well.
Thank you. Wish you well as well.
Thank you, buddy. It's a spiritual battle, folks, a warfare between good and evil. And it's inside of you. It ain't out there. It's out there in other people, but not out there in you. Your own battle is inside of you, and it has nothing to do with anyone else. You forgive your parents for not being perfect parents, as adults, but it's you. It's a battle between the head and the soul. It really is. And you're not your head. That voice is not you. It's just that you fell into that by resenting. But you will overcome it. Just be still, take it easy. Don't hate anyone. Don't try to destroy anyone. And wish everybody well, even your enemy. I have an amazing story coming up about that. It's going to blow your mind. But anyway, don't try to get revenge and all that crap. It's so evil. You really just set yourself up to be destroyed. It's love. You don't see God trying to get revenge against you. Why should we do it to our enemies, our fellow man? Okay.
I have a few super chats. Aaron Collins says, great to see you, JLP.
Thank you.
A. Owen says, keep it up, Jesse. Big fan from the UK.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Gail Manchester.
Heard around the world. It's the same spirit around the world. That's the thing about it. It's not about racism, sexism, homophobism, Islamophobism, deadbeat dadism, white supremacism, Judaism. It's about love and hate. Really. But the hate would tell you it's about all that other crap because it used words against you. When you believe in those words that you hear, if you notice the children of Satan, they love to use words. They love to make up things and use words because if you're not overcoming your ego, you're subject to those words.
Gail Manchester gave a sticker. Thank you, Gail. Peter Gozinga says, I do the silent prayer every morning. At work, I have evil coworkers who make me very angry. You say, watch your thoughts like a movie, but this angry movie lingers on in my head all day. How to stop this? You got to start, number one, I don't know what your situation is because I can't talk to you on the phone, but I can, but you're online right now. What I've noticed is that most people are not doing the silent prayer. They'll call me up and they'll say things like that, but they're not doing the silent prayer. They have not gone and forgiven. Just talking about it ain't gonna work. You gotta be a doer. You gotta go. God said, go and forgive. He didn't say talk about it. He didn't say tell somebody else. He didn't say all that stuff, right? He said, if you have aught against anyone, go and forgive them, and I will forgive you. And be still and know. And a lot of people, what I'm coming to find out is that they're not doing the silent prayer. They believe where I'm coming from, but they're not doing it, and they're not getting better. You got to do the silent prayer. You got to be still, and so the real you can observe the not you, and you become more acquainted with the voiceless voice. But if you got to be doing it. You got to wake up in the morning to do it, or when you wake up. You got to do it. You got so that during the day and all that, you can notice Satan's voice versus God's voice. All right, but you got to do it. You must forgive. Let's get to a caller. Jace out of Texas needs advice dealing with his father. Yes. Jace.
Hey, Jesse.
Who is it, Jace? Hey, Jace. Welcome to church.
Hey, glad to be here, brother. How are you?
All is well. It's amazing.
And I hear that. Yeah, there's something I kind of wanted to get off my chest. It has nothing to do with what's going on now, as far as the mainstream goes. It's a little more personal. Okay. I almost wish we could talk about this one-on-one because it's kind of embarrassing. Well, you could call the office at 800-411-BOND and make a counseling service appointment. And I can talk to you one-on-one, and that way it's private. Because when I counsel with people, unless they say I can talk about it, I do not talk about what we talk about in counseling. Okay, fair enough. So call the office and set up a counseling appointment. I could do it right now because of the Chinese virus. I could do it by Skype or by phone. Hey, you know what? I think I would prefer that. We'll do it that way, but don't put your business out there because, believe me, people use it against you. Yes, sir. Be blessed, brother. All right, thank you. Some things you just don't put out there about yourself, folks, because you set, without even trying, most people are not following God. They are not children of God. And you can tell
that by the way they treat you when they turn on you. And so if they know all your little business, they're gonna turn on you. And you might not even have done or doing what they hear you say, but they'll turn on you because they have anger. So some things you just don't put out there.
Let's get to Robert out of Indiana.
Hey, Robert out of Indiana.
How you doing, Jesse?
Robert, you crossed my mind this morning. When I was here at
really?
the office, I was at, I know why, because James' show was on, the Hate Report was on, and he was getting calls from Indiana. And I just wonder how Robert doing. That's amazing you called.
Well, good. I'm glad I called.
Yeah.
The last couple of calls, the one about being in your home and being by yourself, I can understand where he's coming from because I've been separated from my wife for a year now, and I haven't talked to my family or grandkids or anybody for a year now. So I can understand what he means by being home, but I'm an isolated person anyway. So, I get into other things, and I do the silent prayer. I'm all the way up to 40 minutes now doing it, day and night.
Amazing.
But I guess, and it is working because when I go out in the open and look around and observe, I can see the difference between being in the world and not of the world because the people around are just running around like ants and concerned with their mask on, taking everything off the shelves. I have a half a toilet paper left in my house, and I'm not really concerned about where I'm going to get the next roll.
I'm telling you, if you run out, man, just go out to the cornfield and get some corn cobs.
Yeah, and that's what I did. But the question I have is, did Satan have a choice? And if he did not, how did he think he could go against God? I mean, if he decided to go against God, where did he get the idea that he could go against someone that made him?
Because
Who was his master?
He decided in his heart that he wanted to be God. He wanted to be God instead of love God any longer and follow him. And once he made that decision, that's when he fell apart.
But when he made that decision, is it at the different? If I believe in a thought, was that the same thing? He believed in his own thoughts.
Absolutely.
And okay, and I guess the other question I have is
his ego was in the way.
Pardon me?
Go ahead. I say his ego was in the way, but go ahead.
Okay. The other question I have is once you do become born again and follow God in the way that you subscribe and things, do you become isolated? People just start. I mean, I have literally no one. I've been in my new home for almost 6 months now, and I get no calls from no one. My sisters, my grandkids, no one, and they know how my beliefs are. I'm a Trump supporter to the max, so it's really I'm really, really isolated in my house, and I just deal with it.
You don't have any, whether they're real friends or phony friends. You don't have any at all, not even one.
One person that calls me, and he's the one I bought the house to, the realtor.
Right.
Okay, we even been out to dinner.
Oh,
so
good.
I just deal with him, But
yeah, just play with him and you'll be fine. And as far as your blood family, once you're born again of God, your real family are the men and women or the children of God, those who have been truly born of God. They are your family, your spiritual family. And you'll be fine. You'll become accustomed to it.
Okay.
I've had so many people, I went through that too, so I know what it's like. It's like all of a sudden, and I don't know if it's them or part of the growth of overcoming the world, being in it but not of it. But all of a sudden, you just can't identify with them, and I don't think they can identify with you. And that is part of being in the world but not of it. So you'll get past that loneliness or aloneness. I used to experience that, and it wasn't like a loneliness. It was more like an aloneness, because even when I'm around them, I can't really identify with them. The conversation is boring. The conversation doesn't make any sense anymore. It's boring conversation. It's not about nothing. And so
you're right. You're so right. So that's what makes me know that I'm on the right track, and I'm following God in the right way and born again. I never knew that till the last year now, since He isolated me and He actually saved me and took me out of all that BS and guided me, because I was the black sheep of my family. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that right
I've
now.
noticed that that's in most families where one or two of the kids, at least one for sure, sometimes two, they don't fit in the family. They're like the oddballs. They just can't relate.
Right.
But those kids are called troublemakers or rebellious. I would rather deal with a rebellious child or person than one that has totally given in to the pressure that comes from the family.
Okay.
But you'll
I
get
guess
past
when you
that,
say-
Robert. It'll pass, and you'll find yourself having an amazing life. And with me, I had to go through. I didn't have anyone to tell me that that's what I was going through. But because I was seeking the kingdom of God in His right way, I knew I wanted to fulfill that void that was missing. I just allowed myself to go through whatever I had to go through. I'm like, whatever, Lord, I don't know what to do about this, but whatever Thy will is, let it be done. And it's just been amazing how that has worked for me over 31 years now.
Well, I guess you and your crew is my spiritual family, because if it wasn't for you on Sunday and listening to you 3 hours a day on Monday through Friday, I don't know what I would do, okay?
And it's okay for you. Do you work out and all that?
Yes, I do that, and I walk, and I play with my computer, build computers, paint.
Yeah.
I keep myself busy.
Right on. Your talent, man. Do your talent. And then when you go to the gym, once you start back again, there are guys at the gym and ladies at the gym you can talk to, hang out with.
Exactly.
And that'll be enough for you. You won't need so much. You won't need so much company all the time. One thing I noticed is now I can do without so much company and hanging out and all that, because I don't have that need for it.
Exactly.
I can take it or leave it. It's so amazing.
Yeah, and another thing is when you said don't plan anything, just do what's right in front of you.
Right in front of you. It's so amazing. I'm telling you, I didn't know this.
It.
You just do
I think I'm
what's
going
in
to do
front
one
of you.
thing, and all of a sudden I'm just doing something else. Just whatever's in front of me, I start to do.
Yeah.
And my whole day is going automatically.
That's right.
And it's productive.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
I went to the barbershop
thank you,
yesterday.
Jesse.
Yesterday I went to the barbershop, and I had been wanting to clean up a lot of paperwork that I had in my bedroom. I've been throwing it on the floor, right? And I'm like, wow, I got so much energy. And so I found myself cleaning it up. It was so amazing. I knocked it out just like that. And
exactly.
it was amazing. So you'll find yourself doing things that you wouldn't ordinarily do. So just do what's in front of you. Stay out your head about what you should or should not be doing. And life is unfolding for you.
It is, Jesse. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and don't allow Satan to make you be angry at the people who have turned against you, your family and all that.
Right.
Or they won't call you, your children, or even your enemy. Don't hate them. Love your enemy, because they can't help it. If they could help it, they would do differently.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you for that, Jesse.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, and you have a great Sunday and great week.
Amazing. Thank you, man. I will.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Yes, sir.
Leroy's story on Facebook says, "Love you, Jesse. Can I have a shout out to Leroy and Karina from England?"
Leroy and Karina from England. Amazing. Thank you for joining church. The one thing I've noticed about doing these church services without the audience, and I have to do it I don't have to, but taking a course, we are now hearing from people around the world doing church. It happened during the radio show, but first time for church, I'm sorry I didn't like it. Even though I miss you guys here. Victorian, the black and the white one. Hey, Victoria, both Victorians. And Ariana, right? Ariana? Adriana, everybody. We missed the church a little empty. But I see all you guys seeing, so hi, good morning. Okay. The one thing I like, what I do in my office, and I love doing it. It's kind of hard to get it done sometimes. I like talented people to work for me. Talented people, right? And so when they come, I hire, especially millennials. Millennials are so smart. And they like creative mind because the other half is gone. The common sense thing, the morals. But they're coming back. So I like, and I know I'm like this because when I was growing up, no one got in my way of me learning and making mistakes and growing, and I wasn't afraid to make mistakes on the job. because I noticed that when people can work together, of course, work together, but let everybody be good in what they do and what they know. And the only way you can become good at it, you got to be allowed to make some mistakes. And you learn from them. But I like talented people because it makes everything work for the good. And then when talented people enhances their talent on the job, they move on, they become good at it. Look how James Hayton is moving on with his radio show. I'm amazed at how well he can do it. And one thing leads to another one. So I like that because we all have a talent in us, or talents, more than one, given to us by God. And as you're seeking the kingdom of God in his right way, it will come out and it will be amazing. And it just work for the good of everybody. It make your company work well. It causes them to feel like it's their business. And when they do go and start their own thing, it's just amazing. Everything you want to know, folks, everything you have is inside of you. It really is so. Like the Old Testament is out in the world. All the backbiting and the jealousy and the envious and the destruction and the hatred and the judgment, and it's no love. No love in the world. It's inside of you. Angry people do not have love. I don't care how they quote the Bible. I don't care how many times they sit and so-called observe. I don't care if they agree with you or disagree. They don't have love until they're born again. Really. So you must be born again. Okay.
Moxie G gave a super chat and said, Bond
Thank you.
has a charity button on eBay. If you are cleaning and organizing during lockup, throw something on eBay and donate a portion to Bond. They are doing God's work. Love you, fam.
Who is that?
Moxie G.
Oh, thank you, Master Girl. That's amazing. I like that. Thank you.
And Kent gave a super chat and said, you told me that, that's our Kent, by the way.
Oh, hey, Al Kent.
You told me that you believe the first thought, then the second, and then you are in it. So
Yeah.
important to not believe the first one.
That's right. That's right, man. And that's why as you're spiritually growing and you recognize the voiceless voice, you're becoming more familiar with the voice that talked to you and set you up to believe one thought. But what happens is, and I know this because I've grown into it. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring because I'm living now. But after a while, you see those thoughts coming and you can reject them. But if you're not conscious enough yet, they will come and that first one will take you and you'll feel it. And while you're like fighting with that, you're like, oh, you're going to die. And you like believe the second one, it's over. And once you believe lies, no human being can convince you that it's just your imagination. It's not real. You believe in a lie, they're not going to believe you. Unless it's a true seeker, and as you're talking, they start to say, oh, you're right about that. But if you're not like truly seeking the kingdom of God first, you can't convince a person that lost in their head that is just their thoughts. And because Satan is telling you, oh, they're trying to trick you. Oh, they're afraid of you. Oh, they're this or that, right? And you still believe in lies after lies after lies. You're absolutely right, man. And thank you for your super chat. Thank you, man.
Let's get to Eric in Sweden.
Eric in Sweden.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Eric, how you doing?
I'm so well. Thank you, Jesse. How are you?
Amazing.
Amazing. Good. I wanted to call in since you mentioned our session there in the beginning and really just emphasize from my end as well. It was an amazing counseling session and it really is so good to have that one-on-one with you. So if you can do that, I would really recommend it to the other churchgoers here around the world. So.
Thank you, Eric. Eric, how old are you?
I just turned 30.
30. Eric, I have to tell you, man, I've done some amazing counseling over the years, but that one was amazing. And especially coming from a young person like that and coming from an atheist parents, it was like a witness to my witness. It was amazing.
I'm happy to hear that, Jesse, and it's so true what you say, that the things that you teach, they just resonate through. They just resonate through age and race and social standing, whatever. It's just the real deal, and it's really impacted me heavily. So I could have talked until the cows came home, but yeah,
I know,
I just
so
wanted
much
to
fun.
call in.
Yeah, no, I totally
Yeah.
enjoyed it, man. And I have perfect peace, but when I hear men and women waking up, and I can see that they're truly waking up, it's like it's more valuable than silver and gold. There's nothing to compare it to, because you're back home with the Father. You've come out of the darkness into the light. I'm telling you, to see that, to be a witness to that, I don't know if I can be more blessed. It's amazing.
It's true, Jesse. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Anything else?
I just wanted to say that I actually told my parents now, it came up, because we had to push a certain event in the future, and of course we had to talk about why, and I told them that, I've become a Christian now, and I have these values, and it was like turning a switch in them, they became passive aggressive and slightly hostile, and they were ridiculing me, and but I wasn't affected by it. It was the same kind of behavior that used to plant such a dark spirit inside of me, and it caused me to do all kinds of destructive behaviors. I wanted to kind of hurt myself to hurt them,
Yeah.
But now I don't have that anymore. I'm just watching it. I'm neutral, and it's so amazing. I just have peace.
That's right.
And I just wanted to share that as well. That I'm just so grateful and at peace, and so.
And that's what I was saying earlier, is that once you were born again back into that place, when the storm comes and the boat starts to shake, you will find yourself calm in the storm. And you're thinking, wow, normally I would be freaking out. That's amazing. Yeah. But he's with us, and he's created this other environment within. And when we live from within out, when your parents or your so-called friends or whatever, when they turn on you, it's like looking at a movie. It's like, whoa, this is so interesting. It's not a big deal. And you still love them. You don't hate them for it, because you see that they can't help it. Because if human beings had love, the real love, they would not treat each other this way. They would love one another no matter what the situation is, because they would have understanding.
It's true.
That's amazing, Eric.
God bless.
You too, buddy. And we'll talk again. Thanks for calling.
All right. Looking forward. Yes, thanks. Bye.
All right. Okay. Amazing. It was an amazing conversation, folks. Really. It was like amazing. But I got to tell you this. We have a brand new newsletter that's going out, I think next week, or maybe this week. If you're not on our mailing list, you should go to our website, rebuildingaman.com. And is it rebuildingaman.com church?
/church.
rebuildingaman.com/church, and sign up for the mailing list so that you can get a copy of it. It's no cost to you. It's our appreciation for what you've done, and the newsletter is amazing. So check it out, all right? And they're going into the mail next week, but if you go and sign up, we can still get you one or whatever. Check it out. I think you appreciate it. And thank you guys for donating to Bond, our church service, and to Bond, my nonprofit, at rebuildingaman.com, or call 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663. We still have the Entrepreneur Academy when we're teaching young men. It's just that everything is kind of on hold, because they like, don't get together with more than 10, or don't do this, and don't breathe on each other. So we just put on hold. And as far as the building, but the program is amazing, the academy is amazing. And you can still, if you have a job or just have a life and you want to, the 7 steps of how to do it, get my copy of the 7 Guaranteed Steps to Spiritual, Family, and Financial Success Guide. It's online at rebuildingaman.com. And if you follow those steps, no matter what you're doing, it's going to work. If you do it, you got to be a doer. When I say you got to go and forgive, I'm not playing. When God said it, he's not going to change the rule because, oh, I forgave in my heart. Oh, I don't want to hurt her feelings or his feelings. Oh, I wrote a letter. That's not the way it works. And when he said, be still and know me, become a living being, just be, ain't nothing else going to work but that. You can read the Bible until the cows come home. You can do well. It ain't going to work. So go to rebuildingtheman.com or call 800-411-BOND. On lockdown. There's a building we want to look at, but they won't even show them. And so the right moment will come. Now that everything, interest rates so low and all that, we just don't know what's going to happen, right? But I am supposed to meet with the realtor tomorrow again, and we're going to see what we can do to get around this. But the people who are selling the buildings won't show the buildings because they're afraid. So everything kind of locked down right now. But all is well. My biblical question for this week, is it normal to be vulnerable? Is it normal? The answer is absolutely no. It's not normal. It's not normal for men or women, but it's more of a woman's thing than it is of a man's thing. And I realize that because there are women who are going around teaching, men and women, that it's okay to be vulnerable. Oh, I'm afraid. I feel so vulnerable, right? That's not true. And what I realize is that these women who are teaching this, they are teaching you what they are on the inside. And it ain't right. It ain't good. Don't fall for it. Men and women, when you return to the Father, overcome the mother, and return to the Father, ain't no vulnerability. You're strong in the Lord and in the will of his might. He doesn't say you're vulnerable in him. You're vulnerable. All that emotional stuff and mental stuff, that makes you vulnerable. It makes you weak to the world. That's not the way the children of God are meant to be. Christ didn't come for that. He came that you may be strong and that you may stand and stand and stand and stand. And when you've done all you can do to stand, stand some more. He didn't say be vulnerable. And the women are teaching that because that's how they are. And they're trying to make an abnorm a norm. And they're weakening you. They're taking advantage of you. You know more than they know. You know more than I know. It's in you. But you got to seek it for yourself. But you got to forgive. Otherwise, you'll fall back into that temptation. You got to go and forgive. You got to do the silent prayer. When I talk to people in counseling and sometimes on the radio, they like saying all the right words. But then I ask, have you forgiven? No. Why? I don't want to hurt her feelings. I'm afraid of what she's going to say or do. And most of the time we're with the mother, once in a while with the father, but most of the time with the mother. I'm like, are you doing the silent prayer? Sometime. I'm like, what? I can't help you then. Because I don't have it to give to you. It comes from the Father. It's in you. The same way I found it, that's what you got to do. I had to go and forgive so that he can forgive me and bring me out of the darkness to the light. And this is a perfect time for me to, real fast, share with you what I read over the weekend. Well, during the week and over the weekend. And this is found in Luke 17, 20 to 21. It's found in 1 Corinthians 2, verse 8 to 10. And it's found in Hebrew 11, chapter 11, verse 1, and a little bit beyond that. And it's so interesting. I couldn't believe it. I'm not like a Bible reader, and I've been like this for a long time now. I just open it up and like one thing lead me to another one. And I just never found it. I think because I'm not like all intellectual into that. I was born in Alabama. on the cotton field, and we would take it out of school twice a year to plant the crop and to bring it in. And by the time I went back, they had passed a lot of stuff. And I'm grateful for that now. I would not want to be an intellectual, because I've noticed that the intellectuals, they shut off or reject the light or God that allowed them to learn the knowledge. They get the knowledge, but they shut off the light from the source that allowed them to have the knowledge. And so they never get the understanding. That's what's wrong with the intellectuals. Even some intellectuals who are trying hard to overcome it. I know people who are intellectuals. They may not have graduated from college, but they're intellectuals. And they really want to overcome it, but it gets in their way. It's so interesting to me. But, and I'll break it down a little bit because I'm not going to read all that. You read it for yourself. I hope everybody got it. Luke 17:20, we talk about the coming of the kingdom of God. They were asking him, well, when is the kingdom coming? Where is it? When is it coming? He was like, cool out. Don't look for it. You can't find it on your own. And I'm paraphrasing. The kingdom will come, and you can't see it. It will just come. And it's inside of us now, right? But don't be looking for the kingdom. When they tell you, look in the Bible, look here, look there, look at the Jehovah's Witnesses, look at the Catholics, or go to church and all, ain't it. You can't look for it. It'll find you. Read about that. And Jesus was asked, long story short, about when will the world end. Jesus was asked about the end of the world in Matthew 24, 1 through 14. They're like, when the world going to end? I hear it all the time. And it's short, and you can read it. It's going to end after all this mess has happened, and people have heard about the kingdom of God. They'll all get a chance to overcome or not. That's short phrase. But, and then 1 Corinthians 2, 8, 10, I don't know why I'm finding all this. It talks about eyes have not seen, ears have not heard what God has in store for you. And that is so true. I was talking to my producer, Nick, this morning on my radio show. I've noticed that since being here in Los Angeles, he's from Canada. It's amazing how things are just working out for him. It's mind-blowing. And I'm like, man, it reminds me of when I was growing up. And even though I knew God with me, but I didn't know the depths of it, and when I moved to California, I went through a lot. But for somehow or another, things would just open it up for me. People would come along, help me along the way, or give me some sound advice. It was like, and I didn't truly recognize that it was from God. I just started to recognize that after I went and forgave, and now I can see. But you have no idea what's in store for his children. But you got to let go of the world. And don't try to force that to be. You got to overcome it by being born again. And it will happen naturally. But he has some amazing things in store for you. And he give his word. He's going to give it to you. It'll happen for you. But here's what I want to share with you. And it just let me know that because we all go through that same thing. You heard Kent call and talk about that one thought. If you let that one thought in, it'll bring another one and another one and another, and you feel like you're in hell because you believed in hell. Well, don't worry. It's been set up so we can overcome it for those who have faith, right? I will read about how Jesus ascended into the hell realm, the realm of hell. He ascended into hell. And while in hell, he experienced everything that we experience when we get into our imagination, when we fall in hell by resenting. He experienced the backbiting, the anger, the judgment, the hatred, the jealousy, the envy, the gossiping, the destruction when he lived in that realm of hell, and we all live in that when we resent. The moment you start to resent your parents or whatever, you fall into that. The anxiety, the torture, the fear, the doubt, the worry, the stressing out. He went through all of that. And then he ascended a little bit more into that state of consciousness, which is totally unconsciousness. So when you're in your head and you're in that false state of consciousness, he went through that same thing. And he suffered the same way we suffer when we fall into our imagination. It's a false state of consciousness, right? So he ascended even more so, and it was hell to pay. But what happened was, and it's so amazing, while they were doing that to him, they were hating him. He saw kind of torturing, and people were turning on him, and they were jealous, and they were trying to destroy him, and they were lying to him, and then death, because that's what happened when you live in that imagination. Death is your end. Death is your end. So and then death, right? But what happened was, because he loved what was right, he was sent by the Father, he did not judge anyone while in that state of mind. He did not judge. He had the same love and compassion for those who went against him that he had for his friends. For Paul and all those guys, Peter, or whoever they were, right? John and all them. He had the same compassion for the people in that state of unconsciousness. Even though they were doing all these awful things to him, he did not judge them. And then in not judging them, he was hoping, and it did happen in a little bit, those who got a glimpse of the love that was in him, that they will wake up from the death and come to the life. Come to life. Just a glimpse of it, they would come to life. And it was an amazing story. Isn't that like amazing? So when you're in that fallen state, he had to go through that. And because he went through it, he made it possible so you could believe and overcome it too. So you're not going through anything that's new. There's nothing new under the sun. All who live in their imagination are going through the same hell that he went through. And he overcame it by overcoming judgment, not hate. So when your friends and when your enemies and when your so-called friends and family members turn against you, your employees, your employers, and whatever, don't hate them. Be the light so they can see that light and overcome. And a glimpse of that light can change them. I've heard people tell me that in counseling. They had just a glimpse and things changed. All right? Christ went through that too, so that we can go through it. You can overcome that fallen state, but you must forgive. All right? So when you wake up and then you start going through it with other people, it's like a surprise attack, right? They can't help it. You don't hate them. You ain't got to hang around. You see that they're really not friends and they can turn on you, but you will understand where they're coming from. And that will prevent you from judging them. Whether it's a drug addict, a pot smoker, or alcoholic, a prostitute. Jesus loved, when he was down in that condition, in hell's realm, or that realm of hell, he had the same compassion that he had for that prostitute lady that they were trying to stone. And remember, he didn't judge her. He said that you were the first, without sin, cast the first stone. You can't do it. But he had the same compassion for the people in that realm that he had for those who are not in it. That's such an amazing story. But you got to read it for yourself. I just wanted to give you a taste of it. What do you think about that story?
About Jesus? Yeah, I blanked a little bit.
Oh, okay. He's working the board.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next?
Well, I have a few super chats.
Okay.
And I have
And
more.
thank you all for that, too.
A lot of calls, too.
All right.
S. Fad said, JLP has changed my life. Don't play God. Forgive your mama. Don't hold it against her. Love is eternal. Most will not forgive their parents. JLP is right. Suffer and die.
Yeah. And one thing I want you to know is that when you wake up like that, you're going to be influencing other people too, and they'll see the light and their life will start to change. And you will be like, wow, this person has really changed. It's amazing. And then somewhere down the road, they would disagree with you about something, or they would hear some lie about you, and they would turn on you just like that. Don't be disappointed. Most won't that wake up truly wake up, but those who in the faith wake up will. But don't be disappointed. Don't hate them. I'm telling you, folks, it's so amazing.
I have a few super chats asking for birthday shout outs. Should we save those for tomorrow?
Yeah, for Sunday. We can't do birthday shout out at church. We do birthdays when you're here in the building. We sing happy birthday at the end of the service, but no birthday. This ain't the radio show. This is a fellowship. But thank you. We'll do it tomorrow.
SFAD also says, honor your father and mother through forgiveness.
Yes.
Planting seeds.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. Another thing I've noticed that's in the Bible I had not seen before. Oh, I can't tell you this because it's concerning my biblical question. My new biblical question. I can't tell you. I'll tell you next Sunday if the Lord is willing. But it's so powerful. But I can't tell you. I almost told it. If I told you this, I would be telling you the answer to the biblical question coming up. Okay.
We have a question about abortion clinics being considered as essential and people being arrested for praying outside them. It has happened in San Francisco and Greensboro and Charlotte, North Carolina, from Homeschool Bear Jennifer.
What about it?
What do you think about that?
You can see the new kingdom is within us. And that's the kingdom of love, faith, and all that, right? Real love, not the mama's love. And the Old Testament, the old kingdom is still outside of us. So all those things that are happening like that, that's the way it's supposed to be. They can't help it. They have no love. And so they're supposed to rob, torture, steal, lie, destroy, cheat, turn on you, and then kill you. That's Satan's job. And they are working on behalf of their father, the devil. And you're going to see it once you enter into the kingdom. So they don't want you out there putting the truth out there. They don't. We've been shadow banned because they don't want the truth out there. And I understand it. It's not personal. They literally can't help it. That's what I feel about the abortion thing.
Let me read 3 more super chats, and then we have a ton, and then I also have a lot of calls that I want to get to.
Okay.
So Shannon Ryan says, being adopted, is it necessary to forgive both your adoptive parents and your birth parents?
That's really a good question. Even adopted children are still yearning for their natural father, the men and women, right? Boys and girls. They're yearning for their natural father. And if your adopted parents have made some mistakes along the way, of course, forgive them, and God will forgive you. And if there's no way you can find your real father to forgive him for not being there, just realize they couldn't help it. It was nice that they put you up for adoption. It meant something, right? And just forgive them. That's why it's so important to get to know yourself, because when you know yourself, know thyself, you can't help but understand others around you. It's interesting that it's set up that way, but if you want to understand the world out there, you got to know the world inside, know thyself. And yes, just forgive. You can't harbor resentment for anyone or yourself.
A. Owen says, I'm an atheist, but everything you say resonates with me deeply.
It's inside of you to know the truth. And I like atheists because in being an atheist, unless you turn away from your parents, they are Christian parents and you resent them because they're not the real deal. But at least you know something's wrong. You know what I'm saying? You know something's wrong because the parents are not what they say or whatever. And so now that you're seeking for yourself, you will start to remember. It's inside of you. And that's when you would know God for yourself in the right way. Not in the wordy way, not in the way that they're acting. I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't want to use the name Christian because of other Christians. Once you know it for yourself, you will find that it's an honor to be a Christian. It's a blessing, really. It's the greatest religion on this side of heaven.
Bivakwa donated a couple of ninja guineas and a diamond.
Oh, thank you.
That's Adriana. She said, hi, Jesse.
Hey, Adriana.
I have an update.
I like your little rap song.
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
Uh-huh.
We play it on the radio. So amazing.
She said she has an update. His dad picked his son up on Thursday. Thanks so much to the talk that we had.
Yeah, it was amazing talk. And what I want you to learn, though, you can't really rely on a person to always bring you back. Just relax and know you're in your head with any reaction. And I'm glad that you're getting the father involved because that's what the son is yearning for, his father. But right on.
Benjamin in Virginia has been on hold forever.
Hey, Benjamin in Virginia. I had a friend that moved when I was in high school. He moved from Detroit to Alabama. Alabama. Let me tell you the story real fast. He moved from Detroit to...
Jesse?
Yeah. I'll tell you my story. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Hey, Jesse. I don't know if you remember me, but I talked to you back in November. I forgave my mom. And,
never ask a black man if he remembers.
And so I've been having fun. You know, I've been saved. Everything's been going amazing. But like maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I got in a physical fight with one of my friends. I got angry at him, and I fought with him. And ever since then, I can sense myself getting like triggered a little bit more than I used to before.
Yeah, yeah.
It just feels different. Like I feel like there's something within me that I just get like I can't. You know, I don't know. I don't feel the same. Like I don't have that that light. I don't feel like I have that light anymore. Like I don't have that where I'm just living.
Hey, look,
almost. Like
no
I'm
big deal. Don't make it a big deal. If you were not in self-defense, if you weren't defending yourself, go to your friend and say, you know what, I was wrong, I'm sorry. And you'll be back just...
No, I was not. I can't say it was self-defense. I was the one that... I got mad at him because he was about to drink and drive, so I got mad at him for trying to do that instead of just letting him go.
Go to him and apologize.
At him. I just got mad.
Just realize you were wrong for getting mad. Just say, hey, man, I was wrong for getting mad. I'm sorry. It'll be done with.
To my friend?
Yes.
I said I talked to him. I said I'm sorry, but I also said I forgive you for being manipulating, which maybe was not fair to him.
Right. He was manipulating. You allowed that. You the one got mad. So just, but don't make it a big deal and come out and because Satan's trying to use that against you. Nothing in life is a big deal. Nothing in life. Don't let anything be so important to you that it controls you, right? And so just let that pass. Realize, you know what, I got mad, I was wrong. And then doubt every thought and you're back on track.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to say it's not a big deal, but I just feel like I'm not really, I don't know, I just don't feel that. Every time I wake up, I just feel this heaviness every day now. I don't know. Maybe I am thinking about it. Maybe
you are thinking about it because you can't feel that unless you have a thought. And so you're into that because you judge yourself and others. But just relax and know that you're in a thought, feel the pain, but relax in the pain and keep doing what's in front of you to do. Are you doing the silent prayer?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you're not.
You're like, huh?
You're not doing it.
Yeah, not. I mean, I've been doing it for the last 3 days, but not really.
Suffer then, man, because now that you've fallen back into temptation with that anger, you need the light to bring you out. So you gotta just be still so that God can separate you from that, and you'll be fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, true.
Why haven't you been doing the silent prayer?
I don't know. It's just I wake up in the morning and I just grab my phone and then I say I'm going to do it. I do it a little bit later, and then I do it. But then, I mean, I've been doing it the last 3 days, but it's just I kind of was like, I guess the thoughts start coming in. I start losing a little bit of hope. I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing my silent prayer, but I'm not really feeling. I don't feel that same sort of.
So you love your
spring in my feet. Like I'm not, I'm not like excitable. Like I'm kind of down, I guess.
I understand. You're in your head, but relax and let it pass. But so you love your cell phone. You seek the cell phone first and then God, right?
Yeah, true.
Right. Well, suffer, man. It was just, that's what I was talking about earlier. Remember, James, I said, people talk to me about it, but they don't do what I say, advise them to do so they get past it.
Yeah.
Because just talking to me about it is not going to do it.
I wake up from bed, I do my silent prayer.
Yeah. Seek first the kingdom of God and his right way, and all will be added. It doesn't say seek first the kingdom of the cell phone.
True. Yeah. But what if you wake up and you feel like, how do you like you wake up sometimes and you sort of feel like you're still kind of carry the load from yesterday.
Right, because you're in your head. And so how do you do what?
Yeah, maybe I am. Yeah, because you wake up the next day and you still kind of feel sort of down. You would say, well, the thing is, I still have my peace within, but I'm not like before where I'm anxious or stuff like that. But
yeah,
like I wake up and I still feel kind of like down energy.
Because Satan he's using that against you. My friend Kent called. He said, "You're right. You let one thought in, another one comes. So you got angry, and then you judge yourself for being angry, and now you're in your head. So when if you decide to do the silent prayer, you're not going to feel like doing it. It's not going to feel like it's working. But do it anyway, and let yourself lay there or sit there and just feel the pain, and eventually, and just know you're in your head. That's why you have the pain. You're not feeling it, and just know that. Don't fight with it. Just be aware of it, and it'll pass."
Oh, okay. I'll start doing my silent prayer then, morning and night.
Other than that, just suffer.
Yeah. No, I don't want to suffer.
But just know you're in your head. That's why you're feeling the fear, you're feeling the doubt, you feel like you don't really want to, or I don't have happiness or joy or whatever. But just know you're in your head, even though you can't come out of it.
I even started like before. I never had like sexual temptation, but now I see it's even getting more.
Right.
Before I never even thought about it.
Yeah, because that anger awakens your sexual nature. And the last thing that men have to overcome is sex and food. That's your enemy. It makes you unconscious. So that anger is making you want sex. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
But just go back to this. Do the silent prayer, man. Don't make it a big deal.
Yeah,
allow yourself to suffer through
one
it.
One extra question.
Yes.
Before I let you go. So my roommate, I live with a roommate, and so after I got saved, even before I got saved, I never felt like, there was something that never made me click with him and like fully. I think maybe he's angry, and then after I got saved, I just kind of don't feel comfortable with him, and he smokes weed, and he's a pothead. He smokes cigarette around. Pothead. Beta male. Beta male. And I'm like, sometimes I don't want to judge him for doing that because, I don't want to judge him. That's he got to suffer or die. I already told him.
Yeah, you have no right to judge him at all, no matter what, because when you're in that fallen state, you were doing it too. May not have been smoking pot, but you're doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you have no right to judge him.
So my question is, do I need to move out from that kind of situation? Or
if you're going to be influenced by it, you should move. But if you're not influenced by it, don't move. It's up to you. I'm not there, so I can't tell you. But if you feel like eventually you're going to be...
But every time, sometimes like it's like when I joke around, especially when I was like, I was doing my silent prayer, I became like happy person, and I joke around, I make jokes about his weed. Like I can sense he gets really angry. Like he's my friend, and then he hates me. I can see his whole body change, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like...
I've gone through that with people so many times, man. They take jokes so seriously. They feel personal. It's just a joke.
It's almost like... Yeah, and he's almost like threatening. Like he wants... Like in his head, he's almost like he wants to fight me, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, you know...
Can you afford to move?
Yeah, I can.
And can he afford to live on his own?
Yeah, he can.
Well, then why don't you move if you want to?
Yeah, sometimes I want to move, and I'm like, is it because I'm judging him, you know? But maybe I'm just overthinking it.
Yeah, you're overthinking it. If you don't see, as I've said, if you don't see clearly that you need to move, don't move. If it's clear, then do the move.
Yeah.
But don't judge him. We all come from a fallen state, and nobody on earth has the right to judge anyone.
Yeah. True.
All right.
Okay, Jesse. So, I don't want to ask you this next question because the devil can use it.
Right. Don't ask me the second question.
But yeah, thank you so much, Jesse. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you for calling. Thanks for being a part of church. So we got to start winding down here. I'm looking at the time. And we got to start winding it down. James.
Yes.
What's next?
Well, can we just get to a few more calls? We'll
Yes.
just do the calls.
Okay.
All right. And we'll get you to the rest of your super chats tomorrow on the Jesse Lee Peterson
Right
Show.
on.
Thank you guys. Appreciate the support. Josh out of Houston, Texas.
Hey Jesse.
Hey, Josh, how are you?
Hey, I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed.
Good.
Spirit is walking.
Good.
I was just telling you thank you. I'm the one that called in, you know, when my wife passed away.
Man, that was an amazing call.
Yeah, we had 6 kids. I had one out of wedlock when I was 16, and I learned from that mistake, and that's why the rest of them are all with her. So I got 5 with her.
Wow. And now you have to raise them, right, by yourself?
Yeah, but I mean, in a way, you know, I kind of was raising everybody anyway because you taught me a lot about being the head of my household. And, you know, I started listening to you about 5.5 years ago, and, you know, I was being prepared for this time. And, you know, you actually saved her, and it was an easy feeling, you know, listening in the morning. You know, I always listen to you and had my son, them, you know, and through her sitting there and her mom passed and her dad's right there, like they should have, you know, they should have fixed what they had. Is just her mind was just so far gone. And I mean, I even told my wife, I say, you know, the more I pray over you, the more I want you to be spiritual, the more the devil's going to attack you. And you got to stand firm and stand strong. So, but I mean, yeah, she woke up twice, 3:45 in the morning. Woke up at 2:30. I prayed over her mind, body, and soul. She told me she was scared. The left side was hurting. I prayed over her. I tried to hurry up and get out the house so I can be there when she wake up with the coffee, but I went to grab her hand, and it was cold. I said a prayer. I knew she was dead, but I did CPR about 35, 45 minutes. The cops had to pull me off of her. I got all the kids, didn't let them see, you know, and I'm just strengthening them, you know, because like I told you early in the call, you know, I had a dream 2 weeks before that happened, you know, that she was going to die, and I didn't want to approach her. And then my daughter had a dream a week ago, and then after I got off the phone with you, I played, you know, told the kids and talked to them, and then come to find out our son had a dream as well. So it all resonated, and, you know, my wife, you know, she'll put up a front, but I know she's okay now. And all I wanted was a spiritual wife, you know, because you had helped me so much, change my life and fix my family, my relationship with my mom and dad, with my son that I had out of wedlock. I asked him for forgiveness and fixed that. It's just everything in my life this last year has been truly perfect. And I know she's going to help me. I know she's helping me, and I have no fear whatsoever of raising my kids because I've been the head of my household this entire time, and you helped me to be the head of my household. So the only thing is just, you know, she's not here, so it's just I have to turn up my spirit and turn down my thoughts so that we can continue to stay linked in. But if people want to stay in your thoughts, your mind is the most powerful thing on your body, and your mind can make you do things that you would never imagine. And right now, God has stopped the whole entire world with something that we haven't even seen before, for us to get our thoughts, our lives, and our hearts right. And everybody's just running around panicking, but we just need to sit still, pray, and get our mind, thoughts, and spirits right. And I just thank you, Jesse, because you really helped me.
You're welcome, man. The beauty about...
Pray for me and my kids, man.
I do. I wish you all well, man.
Thank you,
the beauty about what you've done is that before she expired... Thank you, buddy. Did he hang up? Before she expired, you worked it all out. So now that she's expired, you don't have to have all that false guilt and stuff like that. That's what happened with me and my father and my mother. I had worked it out, forgiven them before they expired. So when they expired, it wasn't like, oh, big deal. There was some sadness, so I went through it naturally, and I let it happen naturally. But it wasn't like, oh, spitting all over on the casket, all over in the casket. Oh, my love, my mama, my daddy go, like some people did. And because I had no guilt, I loved them before they died. I had no resentment against my parents. And so it was easier It was amazing to deal with it. The natural mourning process happened, and when it was over, it was over. Because it's not good to mourn for too long and turn to depression. Sadness is not good. And so you're blessed, man, that you got that worked out, and you'll be fine. It will all be fine. And you definitely, we all wish you well, and wishing you well is our prayer for you and your family.
Roy out of Austin, Texas is on the line.
Hey, Roy out of Austin. Oh, I got to tell about put him on hold. Put him on hold real fast. And then I got to tell this story. So I was going to school in Alabama, in high school in Alabama, all black school. On that it wasn't on that plantation I was on, but it was down in Spring Hill. And there was a guy moved there from Detroit, and his name was Benjamin. And he was black. And Benjamin he was one of the funniest. Nick reminded me of him a little bit. Kind of carefree kind of guy, easygoing guy, and he was kind of smart because he had come from Detroit, so he had the white education. And but he was a fun guy. Then he moved back to Detroit. At some point, they moved back. The family moved back, and he expired. And I remember speaking to him by phone. And a couple months later, he died. But he was such a good friend. And it was like 3 or 4 of us all friends. And when he got there, it was 3 of us close friends. Then he became part of it. You know, everybody had their little circle in high school. And he was such a nice guy. He was funny, carefree, and we didn't understand that. But Benjamin, the call of Benjamin made me think of him. Okay. All right. Who do I have?
Roy.
Roy, thanks for being a part of church, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Jesse, man, I just can't believe I'm talking to you.
Amazing.
It really is. I mean, wow. You asked in the beginning if I knew anyone who had the coronavirus, and in Austin, no, I haven't heard of anyone who has it.
Really? So you don't know anyone with it. Do you know anyone who knows anyone who has it?
Surprisingly, no, I don't. But that's not to say, it can't be a bigger issue.
It's something going on because they showing all these actors and government people with it, and then they show all these people look like they're rushing around in hospitals. But I don't know anyone that knows anyone, and that's kind of weird to me, don't you think? Or do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's a conspiracy or anything, but it seems like they're blaming it all on Trump when he issued the travel ban like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So they're really trying to blame it on him, which I don't like. And we should do our part. Like ever since the coronavirus, I've been ordering out more to help out the restaurants that don't get business.
Yeah.
So we should help them out. And if any hotel owner, they say they're going to go out of business, well, they can always, use their real estate for something else. They could sell it or convert it into an apartment. So there are ways to get around this, but we shouldn't just give up. That's what the media's been trying to tell us. Just stay home and just let government take care of you. And I don't like that at all.
That's right. Well, I don't want to get into the politics right now. I was just wondering, and we'll do that on the radio show. I do appreciate it though. But I thought I'd ask the church people, do they know anyone who has it? Do they have it? Do they know anyone who has it? Or do they know anyone that knows anyone that knows anyone that knows anyone? So far, I haven't been able to find people. One person told me that a friend of his said that his father's sick, but they're not sure what's wrong with the father. But I don't know anyone that knows anyone that knows anyone. And
well, Jesse, I did have a question for you, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I've been doing really well over the past 2 or 3 years. I'm 29 now.
Yes.
I've been listening to you.
Amazing.
I'm just really happy. I'm just really happy. Like no bother, no worries, no concerns. But I've forgiven my parents as well, both my mom and dad.
Yes.
But sometimes they'll call in, and then they'll make a comment that'll kind of put me back to my childhood. It'll just remind me of that.
Yeah.
So should I just stop? Should I stop accepting the calls at all? What do you think? Or should I?
I recommend when they do that to you, correct them. Don't talk to me like a boy. I'm not a child. I'm not your son. I'm an adult male. If they continue to do it, then you have to block them.
Yeah.
And just
That's
say,
amazing.
because that's a way of pulling you back in by making you feel like a child, making you feel like the baby. And you'll find yourself not speaking up again, and you'll find the more you give into them, the more control they will have over you. So either they treat you like an individual man, you tell them that, or you won't have anything to do with them.
It's so true.
All right?
Well, I want to take more of your time.
All right.
I really appreciate it. And I just can't believe I'm talking to the great JLP.
It's amazing. Thank you for calling, man. Do you listen to the radio show too?
I do, yeah.
Yeah,
Over
call-
the past 2 years, I've been.
Call the show sometime, all right?
Will do, man.
All right.
Thanks again.
God bless
Bye-bye.
you. All right. So, again, I want to remind you, I am just Jesse, all right? It's not me. It's really not me. But I understand what the people say when they say it, but I want to keep your mind set on the right source. I'm just Jesse. I have to work out. I have to shower. I've been trying to eat better over the last couple months or so, maybe longer. And I've been eating health food, right? And so I ate something that I'm allergic to. Something in there, I believe I ate something, that I'm allergic to, or the shaving cream I use or something. And I broke out. I was allergic to it. I broke out on my arm. I'm like, what the? And so I had to self-analyze myself. I was like checking out everything. So I think it's the new shaving cream, supposed to be healthy shaving cream. But, and so because I know, got rid of, eliminated most of the health food just to see it with that. And then I'm like, oh, so I said, maybe it's a shaving cream. And so I stopped using that particular shaving cream. It's supposed to be health shaving cream. And then all of a sudden I started drying, the allergies thing, allergies start drying up, a reaction to it. So I think so I'm telling you that 'cause I'm just human. But it's the source that's in me. He is the one sending you this message to look within, forgive, don't hate, and you will be fine. Speak up, and you will be fine. And you're supposed to love your parents, honor your parents. It means don't hate them. It doesn't mean you got to hang out. It doesn't mean you take their crap. It means you be honest with them. If you love them, you could be honest with them without resenting them, because they may not change. They may not have changed, but don't resent them, all right? And so I'm just me. And I don't compare myself to Christ at all because he's just my brother. I mean, not just my brother. He's my brother and I love him and appreciate him. But I understand now what he meant when the people were worshiping him. Oh, Lord, what they call you, the Almighty, the this and that. Oh, look at the work he's doing. And he's like, hey, cool out. It's not me. And they made him into God. You are God. You hear Christians today calling him God. He's like, no, senor. No, senor. Oh, it's not me. It's not me. Cool out. It's the Father that's in me. He does the work. But they didn't get it. Some did, most didn't. And so I really, really, really want you to know, when I eat health food, I'm allergic, or the shaving powder or something. Or I have to work out, I have to not get fat like a pig, or I have to pray every day, be aware during the day, I have to seek the Father, take a shower. When I'm working out, sometimes it's so hard, I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. I have to get in my car, I have to put gas in the car. I have to eat and sleep. And I'm just like you, except that it's in me to seek the kingdom of God. That's the only difference. And because of the awakening, I'm telling you this where to look, the steps to get there. Forgive, and you shall be forgiven, and you can live. Do the silent prayer so you can see that you are not your thoughts. Bring every thought into captivity. All right? So don't worship me. I'm your friend. I'm just we're all in this together. And I have to do exactly what I'm recommending for you. So when I see that people have turned on me, I'm done with them. but I don't hate them. Because I see that's not a real friend. And I know now for a fact, angry people are not your friends. Whether it's a family member, a Christian member, a brother, a sister, niece, nephew, politician, entertainer, worker, co-worker, boss, if they have one iota of anger, it's not your friend. You can go along with it, but no, it's not a friend. They will switch on you. It's amazing. But you gotta love them. Don't hate them. They can't help it. I gotta ask you to. That's it.
I have some more super chats and stuff, but
okay. Let me give you another minute or two, and then I get to my new biblical question.
All right, Mark.
Hey, Mark, how's the baby? Mark and his wife having a baby.
Yeah.
You're having my baby.
He gave a super chat and said, "Pretty sure my brother has it. Can't stop coughing. 2 weeks. Super sick. Was in New York."
Oh man.
Not saying it's not an overreaction, but now you know someone who knows.
At least I know somebody that knows someone that knows someone. Thank you, Mark. Stay away from your brother. You know, it's hard to tell too because it's allergy season. And so I was at the park. Allergy season is bad on me. In California, I didn't have it in Alabama, going through the cotton field, corn field, peanut field, sweet potato fields. I never had allergy. I moved to Los Angeles, allergy. So I'm working out in the park with these two friends of mine, Justin and the Hulk, right? And I'm in the grass, and I'm like sneezing. And Justin said, "Are you sick?" They be messing with me, right? I'm like, no. But stay away from Mark. I wish him well, though. Thank you.
And somebody on the line, Sarah from Dallas, Texas, says she has 4 members with the virus, but she's not scared.
Right on.
She's on the line.
But do be safe. Okay, Sarah, let's take your call real fast.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Sarah. So you have 4 family members who has the virus, Chinese virus?
I do. I have 4 family members that live in New York City who have the virus.
Are they in your home?
They're in their home in New York City. I live in Dallas.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Yeah, and I just wanted some words from you because I only found out through another family member. These people and I are not close.
Right.
And I don't want to feel like because they have the virus that, I don't know, that kind of like guilt that says, oh, you should talk to them now because they have the virus, but we were never close before. So I just don't know why anything should change now.
I agree. Because it was all be phony if it does. You see how everybody running around, they helping one another, they giving food, they donate money, and everybody like, oh, they're all united. They are not united. It's fake. It's all emotional. As soon as it's passed, and they'll all be back to enemies. And so don't do it out of guilt. Stay out of your head about it. And if you see to do it, do it. Other than that, don't do it. It's all fake.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I wish you well. Stay away from there. I don't want you to get the Chinese virus.
Thank you. I will.
All right. So, my biblical question. Brand new biblical question. Brand new for this week. And it's from, for the Bible people, it's from Matthew 25:40. This is so good. When I read this, I'm like, oh, this is so good, because it struck me what it really meant. And I've heard this probably 1,000 times. What does it, when Jesus said, what you do to the least of them, what you do to the least of my brothers, you do to me. What does Jesus mean when he said that? What you do to the least of my brothers, you do it to me. What did he mean? I asked my staff here this morning. Interesting. So I told them to hold it, don't tell me. We're going to do the Esprit Hour this coming week. I want you to hear what they said about it, so I can hear it the long way. I mean, at the same time. Some of them didn't tell me, but it was interesting. When Jesus said, what you do to the least of them, of my brothers, you do it to me. What you do to the least of my brothers, you do it to me. And I really, really appreciate you all being a part of the church today. It's an amazing fellowship today. We miss the in-house folks. We're missing you. You got to soon come home. You'll be back home. You really will. But I really appreciate the fellowship. It's so amazing. And one monkey don't stop no show. Don't forget to donate to Barn, donate to the church. And you can do it by going to rebuildingtheman.com/church or rebuildingtheman.com. We have all kind of merchandise and all kind of stuff, especially through these times. You know, people going through rough time, they're afraid. And some people are, not a whole lot, but some are. And we have different merchandise there. And again, if you have not signed onto the mailing list, you don't want to miss this newsletter. It's no cost for you. Go to rebuildingtheman.com/church and leave your address there. And we don't give out your addresses to anyone. We don't sell them. We don't give them. We really protect them, all right? And you get a free copy of our newsletter. We put them out 2 to 3 times a year. And as far as the 30-year celebration of Bond, we were going to do it in October, but it's uncertain now. We may have to put it off until next year. But we have the hotel. We are ready to go. But everybody's scared. I was just so scared. And so we had to put it off, all right? We'll let you know when things start to change. In the building, I'll keep you updated. Everything is on hold right now. They won't even let us see the building. And I've seen a couple that I really, really like. And so I'm trying to really get it while the interest rate is low. Interest rates are like majorly low now. It'll be such a nice thing. And maybe it'll happen. We'll see. But I appreciate all of you. And I want to tell you again, I'm just Jesse, all right? I'm your friend. I'm no different than y'all. I have to do the same thing I'm asking and encouraging you to do. So don't put me in any type of role. That way I can never let you down. All right? Because if you put me up as above you, then you find out flaws, whether they're true or not, it's going to let you down. It really is. There's only one God. He lives inside of you and above. All right? What else? Any other announcement?
I'm going to open the treasure chest on your dlive.tv/Jesse Lee Peterson in 2 minutes.
So we're about to open the treasure chest on dlive.something. .tv? Yeah. .tv. dlive.tv. All right? Thank you for that, folks. Thanks for your support, too. We'll get through this. It'll be fine. But listen, if you don't do the silent prayer, whether it's with the a video or not, because eventually you don't need the video, you become aware of how to do it. And go and forgive, it's not going to work. God's not going to change the rule just because you let Satan talk you out of it. You're going to suffer. And talking about it is not going to make you free. Doing it is going to make you free, really. And you will have perfect peace, and it's so amazing, really amazing. So you got to do it. Just calling me up, telling me about it, ain't going to help. It's just conversation. It might help other people who are listening and knowing that you're not really doing it, they'll see what happened. But you got to do it. Stay with it. I have to live for 31 years. Even when I'm tired, I'm traveling, I'm sleepy, I make sure I do it. I don't go to sleep without doing it. And when I wake up, I do it. And now during the day, I find myself just being aware because you grow into it. Thank you again. I appreciate everything about you. It was an amazing church. I'll see you tomorrow on the radio. On the radio, jlptalk.com. And then right after my show, thehakereport.com on its own channel. That's how things happen. You will grow into it. thehakereport.com. And right after my show, his show is 9 a.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday and Sunday mornings. And I want to thank, I have an amazing staff here, folks. These guys here, all guys, making all this stuff happen. Esteban, James, Chris, Nick, Joel, and Billy, and Francisco just for showing up in case we need help. Thank you all. I don't take it for granted at all. I like the way, I appreciate how serious these guys are to get it up there, get it done, get started on time. So thank you all, and Hermes for putting out the message. about the meeting, my PR guy. I thank everybody. I am grateful. Do the silent prayer, folks. Jesse can't help you. I'm just pointing you to the source within. All right? You already know. Come home. Overcome mama. Return to the Father. There will come a day I will return the children to the fathers and the fathers to the children. That day is at hand, all right? Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a good day. I appreciate it. Amazing.